What's going on out there, guys? Welcome to If Numbers Could Talk. I'm your host, Keelan. And yeah, that's right. I cut that off right there at that part because I like to just make things really subtle and abrupt. I don't know why, but it's kind of how I like to do things. Welcome to If Numbers Could Talk. I'm your host, Keelan. And then we are here to give you some interesting information, a bunch of numbers, a bunch of stuff that maybe you know about, maybe you have heard about, maybe you haven't. But that's what we're here to do today. We're here to give you the highest grossing box office for the top 10 Christmas movies, the top 10 Christmas movie box office. And I will also be adding some personal notes. As I was looking through these lists, I found some 25 lists, some 20 lists, some 40 lists. Um, it's a demographic specific list. And then I also found a themed list. And what I mean when I say a themed list, a list of movies that are Christmas based or Christmas themed, but they're not exactly Christmas movies. So they might take place around that time of the year or something of that nature, but they're not exactly a Christmas movie. If I'm being honest, when I was going through those, none of the numbers really jumped off the charts, but there were some interesting names. Um, but not as much. Not as much as the top 10 and the personal notes. The personal notes really kind of blew my socks off. I was like, wait. So what you're telling me right now is this particular movie was good enough to make the list, but it wasn't good enough for us to actually go and watch as I guess as a society. With that being said, what I can do now is what's up, guys? All right, so we're here, and I'm going to give you a couple of things. I'm going to give you guys the top 10 plus one. So I'm going to give you the top 11, their numbers, the year they came out. I'm also going to give you whether or not those movies were released on Christmas Day. This list actually started because I was trying to figure out what are the highest rated great grossing movies that were released on Christmas Day. And those numbers are so weird because if a movie's released on Christmas Day doesn't always fall on, say, a Thursday or a Friday, right? So what they do is they take the day the movie dropped, the Christmas Day numbers, and the first Sunday numbers, and they add those together. And then you also consider that if you're looking at like worldwide numbers, there are some places that those numbers won't be the same. Maybe they didn't have the same release date. Um, so that ended up leading me to top 20. And then from top 20, I thought to myself, let's do a top 10 and add some personal notes. And that's how we got where we are right now. So we have once again the top 10, not a top, because I didn't make this top 10, the top 10. A lot of this research was done between, of course, Google, but Wikipedia and a couple of other sites. I think Screen Rant was one of them as well. Um, oh, and IMDb, actually. So, yeah, like I said, a few sites that I felt were at least somewhat reliable to give me the information I was looking for. Um, I at least needed to feel as if they had some stake in the information. Like they at least they try to give you as much information, whether you believe it or you think it, but they at least try to give you some information. Like Wikipedia tries to give you as much information as possible, or IMDb, which, in my opinion, because they are literally there to tell you about movies and the people in movies and everything about the movies, that is 1000% what they are here for. Is just, hey, that's movie related. Well, how much money did it make? Because that's movie related. So let's get it started. Let's get started. Our very first movie at the very top of the list, and I cannot say I was surprised that this is the number one grossing Christmas movie of all time, and it is The Grinch, the 2018 version, which was the animated version, not the Grinch that stole Christmas, but that is on the list, so I'm not going to get into that so too deep. We'll get there in a moment. So The Grinch is the number one grossing movie of all time when it comes to Christmas movies. Now, keep in mind, I'm going to give you number one, and then I'm going to go all the way down to the number 11 and work my way back to number two. But number one is The Grinch, and it grossed $511 million in the year 2018. I saw it. Good movie. Enjoyed it. Um, That's a big number, though. I will say, and the reason I did mention the Grinch first, the number one first, but I'm going to go through the whole list after that, is the number one Christmas movie of all time. And the number one Christmas movie of all time is only a half of $1 billion. The number one movie of all time is what, less than 100,000 shy, I believe, or excuse me, 100 million shy of 3 billion. With that being said, I had to note that the highest grossing Christmas movie is about one sixth. One sixth has about one sixth of the income compared to the highest grossing movie worldwide. Now, when it comes to, again, Christmas movies, it's not necessarily a worldwide thing, but these numbers are an accumulation of their gross altogether. So this is worldwide for the top 10 and for my notables. However, for those Christmas Day releases, if I was just going to do it that way, that was going to be a little more difficult to talk about. So, what we're going to do is we're going to go all the way down to number 11. Number 11 is a movie entitled Daddy's Home Part 2. Daddy's Home was a Christmas movie, Will Ferrell and Mark Wahlberg, I believe. This is the second rendition of it, the second part of it. The second part of Daddy's Home 2, brung in $180.6 million in the year 2017. The 10th movie on this list is The Santa Claus. The Santa Claus was also a movie I saw, pretty good. I saw both. So far, I've seen all three of these movies that I'm mentioning. The Santa Claus grossed $190.5 million in the year 1994. Number 9, The Holiday. The Holiday grossed $205.8 million in the year 2006. The next movie, our 8th movie, is the first one that I'm going to bring up that was also actually released on Christmas Day, but it still makes our top 10. The movie is called Elf, the Will Ferrell movie Elf. Elf brung in $225 million in the year 2003. Number 7, Love Actually. Love Actually brung in $245.2 million in the same year, 2003. The next movie on our list also was released on Christmas Day. The Polar Express, which I believe so far is oh no, it's not our first animated because I did mention the number one movie first, but it is number 6 and it is an animated film, The Polar Express, $315.2 million in the year 2004. The next movie also released on Christmas Day. Number 5, A Christmas Carol. I think most people have seen A Christmas Carol. $325 million in the year 2009. Number 4 on our list, another Christmas Day release, Dr. Seuss and How the Grinch Stole Christmas. Not the same as The Grinch, not even considered the same series, apparently, but Dr. Seuss and How the Grinch Stole Christmas. That's right. That's 2 Jim Carrey movies back to back. I'll go it again. A Christmas Carol, $325.2 million in 2009, and How the Grinch Stole Christmas, $345.8 million in the year 2000. Both of those are Jim Carrey Christmas movies. Home Alone 2 is our 3rd movie, Lost in New York. Home Alone Lost in New York brung in $358.9 million in the year 1992. Number 2 on our list, right under number 1. We already went through number 1, right? Number 1 was The Grinch. The number 2 movie is the first Home Alone film, which brung in $476.6 million in the year 1990. So in 1990, Home Alone came out, and 2 years later, the sequel comes out, and they pretty much may almost hit a billion, it looks like, with just those two movies. And so that was between 90 and 92. That's incredible, actually. Where I was also looking up series. So they have Christmas series. The Home Alone movies did not come up as a series of movies, which means technically they all stand alone. I mean, we all look at it as Home Alone and Home Alone 2 and Home Alone 3, but apparently Home Alone stands alone, pun intended, I guess. Um, and it is not considered a they're not considered a series of Christmas movies, but they are individually still considered Christmas movies. And once again, for those who did not hear it or on the first go round, The Grinch, our number one film as far as box office gross is concerned, with $511.5 million dollars in the year 2018. Now, as you heard, you have five of the top 10 were released on Christmas Day, and then I also gave you the 11th just so you understood what was right below that. 180 for the 11th and 190 for the 10th is, I mean, $10 million gap, right? But in movie terms, it's not that big of a gap, and I don't know. These numbers were just really interesting to me because they went up very incrementally. 180, 190, 205, 225, 245, 315, 325, 345, 358, 476, and 511. Until you get to the top three, it's really consistent. Like it's just boom, 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 boom. And then you start like, oh, that's a big gap. Oh, that's a big gap. But outside of that, it seems like Christmas movies, I mean, either you're good or you're not, but Christmas movies seem to get a pretty decent reception. People tend to come out and enjoy them, and rightfully so. Most people are off. Most people have time off from work, school, whatever, but they have some extra time, perhaps, to maybe go and enjoy a film or so. With that, let's get to the personal notes. So, in the personal notes, what I did is I noted what number the movie was on the list, and then I gave you the same information I gave you above. The amount that it brung in the year that it came out. Now, in the personal notes, I have to say at the top of my personal notes, The Preacher's Wife, the Whitney Houston Denzel Washington movie. The Preacher's Wife is a Christmas movie and it is not on any Christmas list. However, it didn't really bring in that much money. So, um, I think it brung in. Actually, I think it brung in more than another one. I think it brung in around 59 million from when I looked it up. I can't remember it off the top of my head. I should have written it down, and I apologize for that. But I believe that the Whitney Houston Denzel Washington movie, The Preacher's Wife, brung in around 59 million. But it had, or maybe 52 million, and it had a budget originally, I think, of 60 million for the movie and another 15 for marketing, so 75 million. They actually did not hit their mark. So in that note, when I thought from that end, it's like, oh, okay, maybe that's why I didn't make it, because they didn't even cover their expenses. But that's a great Christmas movie, man. It is. I'm just gonna say that. I'm not even gonna elaborate. Just, if you've never seen The Preacher's Wife, go and give that a gander. It's a good movie. Whitney Houston, Denzel Washington, um, Courtney B. Vance. I mean, you name it, they're in that movie. Loretta Devine. It's a great movie. Go and check it out. So, the personal notes for the movies that actually were on the list. That's the only movie I'm going to name that wasn't on any of these lists. I had to, though. Okay, maybe I didn't have to, but I wanted to, so I did. With that, let's do this. Number 16. It's the one you've all been waiting to hear. It's the one that I was waiting to find, and I was trying to figure out what number does this land on, because to most people, it's the greatest Christmas movie of all time. I'm not going to speculate or comment on that. We can have that discussion if you like. Jump in the comments, send me an email. I don't mind. However, I'm only giving you that information if you solicit the information. Aha. But number 16 on the highest grossing movies of box office history, as far as Christmas movies, at least, highest grossing Christmas movies of box office history. Number 16 is Die Hard. That's right, the Bruce Willis movie, where he's wearing a beater, yelling yippee ki and all of that good stuff that we love to watch over and over and over. Die Hard is number 16 on the list, and it brought in $141.6 million in 1988. Number 18 is Jingle All the Way. Jingle All the Way was also a pretty funny movie. It came out in 1996. It brought in $129.8 million. in '96 for a Schwarzenegger movie, I think that might be kind of low. But I'll have to look into that. Maybe one day we'll get a Schwarzenegger highest grossing film episode. Number 24, one of my favorite Christmas movies, which I always, as a kid, I didn't really understand that it was a Christmas movie, but at this point in my life, I just revel and take real joy in, hey, it's a Christmas movie, right? And it is The Nightmare Before Christmas. The Nightmare Before Christmas is the number 24 highest grossing income film for Christmas movies at $88.1 million in the year of 1993. Number 25, Bad Santa, with $76.4 million in the year 2003. Number 26, The Best Man Holiday Movie, brought in 72.8 million at in the year 2013. Number 27, this is a series that is a lot of people's favorite comedy series, favorite comedy movie series, or however you say that. But number 27 is the National Lampoon Christmas Vacation, which came in at 71.3 million in the year 1989. So from my list, I can note that there are, I think, three movies that came out before 1990. Two in 1988 and one in 1989. The 29th movie on the list was Krampus, the Krampus movie. If you know, you know. Krampus brought in 61.5 million in the year 2015. Number 30, Scrooged. Scrooged. That's right, Bill Murray. Scrooged came out in 1988, and it brought in $60.3 million. Next on the list, this literally 29, 30, 31, and 32 are in order. Before that, it was 24, 25, 26, 27. Skip 28, get to 29, 29 to 32, skip 33, and then we get to 34. So, 31, Medea's Christmas movie. 31 is Medea's Christmas movie, which brought in 53.9 million in the year 2015. Number 32, another one of my personal favorite Christmas movies that I really just enjoyed watching time and time again. I remember my very first time watching this Christmas movie, and I don't even know how to explain that. It just, I don't know. It struck me. I didn't even expect it to be this good of a movie when it came out, but when it came out, it was a really good movie. I enjoyed it. I enjoyed the performances in the movie. And the acting was on par. At the time, we also had a couple of actors in there who were really starting to make headway over here in the States and or in general in their career. And that movie is number 32, This Christmas, which made 49.7 million and came out in the year 2007. This Christmas. That is number 32. The number 34 movie brought in $46.2 million in the year 1994. It is number 34, and ironically, it has 34 in the name. It is Miracle on 34th Street? I just did that. Miracle on 34th Street. 31st Street? 34th Street. It's 34th Street, isn't it? See, I just blanked out now. But yeah, that is the movie. It's 34th Street. I wrote it down already. I'm just, I'm sorry. Sometimes I go through those moments where it's like, hey, what's going on in my brain? But Miracle on 34th Street is the 34th highest grossing Christmas movie of all time with $46.2 million in the year 1994. Now, again, this began because I simply wanted to know what was the highest grossing movies to come out on Christmas Day itself. But those numbers just didn't seem adequate enough. So again, I will give you from this list, from bottom to top, the movies that all actually came out on Christmas Day that I just named for you. Number 26, the number 26 movie of all time for Christmas, The Best Man Holiday, came out on Christmas Day. Number 8, the number 8 movie for all-time grossing Christmas movies, Elf, came out on Christmas Day. The number 6 movie, The Polar Express, came out on Christmas Day. The number 5 movie, A Christmas Carol, came out on Christmas Day. Dr. Seuss's How the Grinch Stole Christmas also came out on Christmas Day. So that's two, once again, Jim Carrey movies that were released on actual Christmas Day. One in 2000 and one in 2009. And then you have The Grinch, the number one grossing Christmas movie of all time, was also released on Christmas Day. With that, I ask you to think to yourself, which of the movies I named did you see? Which of them did you like the most? Are there any movies that I didn't name that you would have loved to see on this list, or you would at least like to know how much they made? Let me know. I'm here for you guys. I want to know. I'm interested in this kind of information for whatever reason. I'm not gonna act like, oh yeah, that's normal. I don't know if it's normal, but I am interested in this kind of stuff. And that's why I bring this information to you. That's why I'm sitting around looking it up all the time. And I have a few more things in the log for you guys. So I appreciate you guys for tuning in. This has been If Numbers Could Talk, and this was our numbers. Excuse me. Well, yeah, it is our numbers for the top 10 highest grossing box office for Christmas movies of all time. Thank you guys for tuning in. This episode has been great. It's like I'm looking through these numbers like I didn't already research them and look them, and even I'm still like, dang, that is crazy. Die Hard's number 16. Miracle on 34th Street is number 34. Like, these are literally Christmas staples. Every year you see them on TV. But hey, I I I uh I appreciate having this kind of information, and I appreciate you for tuning in. By all means, when you get a chance, head on over to your Facebook, your YouTube, Rumble, Spotify, Verbal, and check out some of our other podcasts. We have podcasts for you pretty much every day of the week. Starting today on Tuesday with If Numbers Could Talk, you're right here with me already. On Wednesdays, we have the Screen Time Continuum. On Thursdays, you have two Twitch channels I need you to check out. Check out Strawberries and Coffee with Dejan, and then go on over to King underscore of underscore Ilion and check out Mike. Both of them are over on Twitch giving you video games that they play regularly and or things out of the archives. And hey, enjoy that. When you're done with this If Numbers Could Talk, when you're done with the Screen Time Continuum, after you've also went over and followed and subscribed to the Twitch channels for King of Ilion and Strawberries and Coffee. On Friday, you're going to check out the Exofathom. On Saturday, you're going to check out This Married Moment. And on Sunday, you're going to be right back to the Screen Time Continuum. Don't worry, Monday will give you a day off so you can collect all of the podcasts that you got to listen to, wherever all the podcasts you'll listen to for the following week. Put them in a queue. Make sure you hit your reminders, hit that little ding ding, hit that bell so that it comes up under your subscriptions. And we'll be here for you, giving you guys all new content every week on all of those channels I just named. And who knows, we might be adding more for you later on. I appreciate you guys for hanging out. This, once again, is If Numbers Could Talk. See you guys next time. Have a good one.